So, hello everyone. Thank you for signing up to join. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. For those who know me, know I am very informal. I love to talk to people and connect with people and have real relationships. I think that's incredibly important in this industry, is having real relationships with people. Like, you see so much of it, especially at conferences. You know, oh, that's a super famous agent. Here's my card. Call me. Like, they're not. You're gonna throw your card away. Real relationships, about connecting with people and learning about people. And so for today, I want to keep this informal by saying, if you have questions, raise your hand. Don't feel like you have to stay here. If you're not getting anything from this and you want to leave, leave. Like, I'm not going to be like, where are you going? Like, I totally understand. Everyone's on a different part of their journey. Everyone's VO journey is totally different and incredibly unique. So don't feel any sense of that you have to stay here or anything else. And if you have questions, ask them. That's what we're here for. So script analysis. I was talking to some of you out here just briefly before we started, and I've been seeing, I don't want to call it a troubling reoccurrence, but I'm seeing in some of these conferences what I consider to be a lack of focus on script analysis in particular, because of how important it is in what we do as voice actors. That everything starts on the page. Everything starts with what you're given. And so it's incredibly important that we understand how to approach the script and approach the text and find what works for us. Now, one of the more important things as well with that is that everyone's going to do that differently. So this workshop today is, let's look at Paul's approach. I'm not going to say, I'm not a fan of absolutes, like this is how it has to be done. What we're going to learn today is, what am I doing to do my work? So, why is that important? Well, this is the part I hate. This is how I have to kind of tell you why you should listen. And I hate this part. So, I am a full-time voice actor. That is my full-time job. I'm a six-figure earner who provides for a family with 5 children, all on voiceover, okay? I only say that just to say what I'm doing has been working, so I want to share that. This is in no way to say, look at what I'm doing, because that's not what this is about. This is about learning how I'm at where I'm at. I studied at the Royal Conservatory in England. I got my master's in acting out there, working with the Royal Shakespeare Company for a brief stint. Then moving to Los Angeles. I was in LA for a few years until this crazy thing happened that nobody had heard about, the COVID-19 pandemic, which moved me back to Utah, where I built a house, I built a studio, and just do everything remotely now. I've been to LA maybe 3 times since the pandemic to actually record in studio. Everything else has been remote. So for any of you who had questions about whether you have to move to LA, no, not anymore. I signed with Atlas Talent Agency back in 2019. After a few years, switched to DDO, who's bi-coastal out of New York and LA. I currently have 7 agents and 2 managers, and they're all just bringing in auditions. I don't direct market. And so I'm in a unique place in my career right now. And again, I hate talking about this, but it's to help you understand my process has gotten me here. So let me share with you my process, and hopefully if it works for you, then great, you can have success as well. One of the other things that I hit on majorly is that there is no competition in this industry. Regardless of what you hear, there is no competition. And the reason for that is because everyone's voice is totally different. Everyone's voice is unique and individual. So if we're all auditioning for the same part, the client is only listening for who they want to cast. It's not who's the best voice, who's the most talented voice. That helps. That's incredibly important. But in the long run, the client's going to listen for what they want to hear, and they're going to book them. And if that's you, awesome. And if it's not, awesome. Like, you're not competing with one another in this industry, okay? You are trying to be as versatile and as studied and as prepared as you can be to help book the job and be ready for more jobs, but you're not competing, okay? So that's like my precursor to all of this. Hopefully that all didn't, it was a lot of information, but hopefully it didn't fly over all your heads. It's important to me that people understand we're not competing. So, what is script analysis? What are we talking about? Hands up, quick answers. What is script analysis? Yeah?
Like figuring out what the seed or the full script means.
Yeah, the words on the text, what do they mean? What are we doing here? Any other thoughts? Script analysis, yeah.
What message the script is trying to get across to the person who's going to see it?
Who's your audience? Who are you talking to? Like, who is this being delivered for? Why are you even reading it in the first place? Right? Any other thoughts? Yeah.
Emotion. What kind of emotion might be necessary to deliver the message?
What do you have to bring to this? What do you as the voice actor need to read and go, okay, I have to bring this to it? Yeah.
Who am I in relationship to the person I'm talking to?
Great. Absolutely. What's your relationship to the audience? And why are you delivering that? Yeah, Tony.
Where are you?
Where are you? Yeah. The understanding of the situation behind like what's going on. So all of these things are inclusive as part of script analysis, and as you think about that as a voice actor, that's the whole ballgame. That's everything. That's what we're doing. So because everyone's different and everyone has a different read, right? All of us are going to approach this differently. Okay? So what I'm going to do is walk you through my approach to scripts, how I break them down, how I interpret them, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put a few scripts up on the board. We're going to do some reads together. We're going to have some volunteers to read. We'll talk about how you're approaching it and why, and then we'll break some of that down. So first, I have three kind of tools that I use when I'm breaking down a script initially, and I pull it out and I look at it, and the first thing I do, and this is what I've decided to call them because I didn't have a name. So the first one is called the quick scan interpretation. So quick scan. I'll break down what these are. So the first is quick scan. The second one is sensory response. And the third, walk it out. So let's start with quick scan. Oftentimes when I get commercial copy, or any copy, apart from video game and animation, that takes a little more in depth, but a lot of commercial, my quick scan interpretation is I take the text, I read it through quickly, I don't take time on it. I just read it through quickly and go, what came up? What came into my head? And I do a read. Right into the microphone, I record it. Sometimes I end up sending that, sometimes I don't. But I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. This is just the quick scan. I go, okay, here's the copy, blah, 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 okay, what is that? Here, this. This is what came to my mind. And I just do a read. That's quick scan. Okay? Oftentimes, that is a great read for when they want not salesy, authentic, what are some of the other buzzwords that they use for
conversational?
Conversational, friend next door. It's literally just me going, what's on the text? Here it is, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading it, da-da-da, there it is. That's my quick scan when I just throw it out there. The second one, sensory response. Sometimes if I don't feel like I'm understanding what the text is saying, or I don't feel like I'm getting the message, or I don't feel like I'm quite getting the audience, I'll read through it and just listen to my feelings. Does this feel happy? Does it? And I know some of this might sound basic, but trust me. Do I feel happy when I read this? Do I feel sad? Do I feel confused? Do I understand the text when I'm reading it? Because sometimes if I read through something and I don't understand it, and I keep reading through it and I'm still not understanding it, that to me is a dead giveaway that I've got to spend a whole lot more time on it. So some commercials, it's 3 words and it's pretty easy to pick up. And you're like, great, I know what this is. But sometimes you read through it and you're like, I'm not getting this. So sometimes I trust my senses. I just say, I just read through that and I feel like this is kind of a happy spot. So I'm gonna be happy. Or I feel like there could be a depressive approach or like a sad kind of melancholy approach to this. Now the reason I mention that is because that could differ completely with the specs. You might get the specs on a breakdown that says happy, fun, joyful, and you read through and it's a story of a mom suffering with depression and at the end she's happy. But you're like, that's not what I'm feeling on this. Okay, the first, I don't want to call it a golden nugget, but the first thing that changed my career is casting directors rarely, if ever, know what they want. Okay? They have ideas, they have thoughts about what they want to do. But your job is to say, let me tell you what you want. Let me show you what you really want on the spot. And I will tell you, I have booked many commercials that have gone direct opposite to the specs. Because I read through it and I went, this just doesn't feel right. This feels right. So give yourselves permission to not worry about rules, to not worry about the restraints. Yeah.
Would that be a situation where you maybe do 2 reads to that? Like,
Totally. Totally. I love the 2 reads, especially when you're given permission, because sometimes an agent will say like 1 take only, and then you just. But when you have the opportunity to do 2 takes, yeah. Make your first one whatever you feel and whatever you want, and then maybe give a a conservative read second or whatnot.
If everybody else is doing the specs, yours will stand out.
Yeah, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes that'll go against you. But again, that's the business. Like, there is no way to approach an audition and go, I know what they're gonna want. I know what to give them. Like, nobody knows. So that's why you just have to trust yourself. And sometimes stepping out of the box is awesome, and they're like, holy cow, I heard this audition today, it was insane. And other times they're like, they missed the specs so hard, they're done. And that's gonna happen. But when I trust myself in my analysis, my success is so much greater. Yeah.
So, not sure I'm following this.
Yeah.
If you send 2 reads, your first read is your quick scan read, and your second read is your
Oh,
sensory
great.
response read?
So if they're letting me do 2 takes, what I'll typically do is using any of these, either quick scan or sensory, if it's very different to the specs, if they allow me 2 takes, then I'll let that first different take be first, and then I'll give them a little more conservative read that's maybe closer to the specs, because then it shows diversity as well. It shows dynamics. It shows that I can do this different thing, and then at the same time, yeah, I can follow the specs and give you the read that everyone else is going to give you, but you've also got a different read now that was totally against spec, that they can go, oh yeah, like listen to the range in here. Does that make more sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not quick scan and then sensory. It's more of just once I pick one of those, and if it's different, I want to add a second take if I can. That'll support that. And then the third one, walk it out. So this was a technique that I learned in England when we were working with the Royal Shakespeare Company, that for Shakespeare, oftentimes, if you're reading the text, if you walk out your text while you're reading it, you'll start to see patterns in where you find natural beat changes. So if you're reading out in Shakespeare, you come to the end of the line, and you just kind of naturally stop and turn, that can motivate what you do in your script. Or in a comma, maybe if you take a left turn while you're walking, and then you get to the end of the sentence and turn right and start walking. As you're moving around and walking it out, you start to find new ideas in the lines of where you might want to add pauses, of where you might want to speed up, of where you might want to ignore punctuation. That's another thing. In script analysis, the punctuation is there to help you. Don't feel beholden to it. Don't feel like you have to follow the punctuation. The amount of auditions where I was terrified that if I didn't read it exactly how it was on the page, and the number of times I know I lost out on those auditions because I was so constrained by the rules and the what's expected of me. Break the rules. If you feel like I can give a confident read by getting rid of that period and shifting this comma, and it makes sense, and I'm confident about it, do it. Yeah.
What about if it's a 30? You don't care about that? You go 35. It's 35.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is one of those moments where if I only have 1 take, and it's through my agent, and they say it's a 30-second spot, and I've got to hit it in 30, I'm going to try to get it in 30. Mostly because clients, when they listen to it, even though they're not supposed to, they're still going to watch and see if you hit 30. But I'm going to have free play within that to adjust commas and periods and question marks and play around, and maybe I do a run-on sentence through one of them, and whatever I want to do within that. So one of the things I see very often is, especially with beginners, I'm not classifying anyone, just what I've seen with beginners, is that they stick to the text all the time. I'm not saying get away from the text. I'm saying allow yourself permission that if you feel like you're more confident dropping a comma or changing a period or turning something into a question, and you feel like that's your interpretation and you want that, do it. Absolutely. Go for it. Because the first thing that a casting director is going to hear in about 2.5 seconds is whether you're confident in your read. Like that, people talk about, no, in the first 5 seconds they'll hear if it's on spec. Confidence is first. They can tell instantly if you really believe what you're doing. And then after that 2.5 seconds, then they're going to listen for, is this fitting what we need? So your job as the voice actor is to feel so confident with your read and with your choices that when you hit send, hitting send means wait till you hear this audition. You'll have to book it when you hear this audition. And then teaching yourself to say, once it's sent, it's gone. Next. Moving on. So that aspect of script analysis is kind of like the first big piece that I want to give to you. Don't rely on the punctuation all the time. Don't believe that there are rules to how you approach the text. Feel free to just let whatever you think needs to happen. Because the reality is there are going to be times where you are so off. Like you make a decision and you're like, yeah, this is it. And the client listens and goes, that was not great. But to this day, I have not had a client who has blacklisted me or said, that audition was so bad, I'm not listening to another one again. Now, it's different sometimes with higher up animation casting directors, where if you're giving consistently bad animation auditions, they may be like, we've heard enough. But in terms of the majority of the work we do, their memories are so, they're not going to remember if you went off spec and did something crazy and they didn't like it, and they're going to be like, uh-oh, them again. Oh, look out, we've got another audition. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you're being perceived if you're doing the homework. If you're doing the work and you're getting better and you're working on things. Any questions up to this point about any of that so far? Do those 3 ideas make sense to you all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
I think I've heard it suggested that the read that goes first is your interpretation of things without even necessarily reading the specs at first. I've heard people say they look at it, they interpret it, they do a read, then they read the specs, and it's like, well, I was way off on that. Okay, let me give them according to the specs and send them in that order. Is that something you would advocate?
My quick scan. That's what my quick scan is.
Yeah.
I don't even read the specs.
Oh, okay.
I don't read the specs. I don't read anything else except the copy. I just go, here's the copy. Let me read through it. Great. What does that do for me? Here it is. Bah! And I record it. And then I'll listen back afterward and be like, actually, yeah, send. Or, ooh, that actually gives me an idea that if I take some of those principles and then walk it out and combine those, that gives me a solid read that fits the specs and what I'm confident about in this moment. So mix and match. And this is the thing that drives people crazy in the VO world, is that there are not a lot of absolutes in the VO world. Like my journey to where I got is nowhere near anyone else's journey. Everything's totally different. And so all of your approach in the booth is going to be different than my approach. We may take bits and pieces from one another, but there's nothing that I can say like, if you do this, this will happen. That's not how it works. But you can take ideas from everyone else, to make it work for you. So, let's put some scripts up on the screen here and have some fun with them. Now, I typically have 4 different approaches to commercial VO. where if I'm stuck or I'm not sure, and if these 3 techniques have not failed me, but I'm still not getting anything, or it's not clicking with me. Typically, what I'll do is I've got 4 different approaches. Where does the power button go? Is there a remote for this thing?
It's on this side of it.
It's on this side?
Yep.
Where'd it go?
Sorry, button's on the side of the table.
Oh, on the edge. There's 4 different approaches that I take. And my approaches are first, and this is for commercial, okay? So for commercial, the first approach is the conversational, best friend, next door neighbor, whatever, okay? And what I typically do with that, let's see if it pops up.
You're on.
Ta-da. So what I typically do with that, and these are actual scripts from a long time ago, so we don't have any problems, is the conversational, okay? That's the one that everyone talks about. Try not to act interested, try to sound normal. And what I found is that this is one of the hardest reads in voiceover, is trying to sound conversational, right? And so especially with this read, yeah, come on in guys, there's chairs. Especially with this read, it's typically the first approach I take on a script if it's commercial. I'm just going to read it as me. I'm not going to put anything on it. I'm just going to do a quick scan or a sensory response and just see what pops up. So that's number 1, conversational. The second one is the character read. Within commercial, oftentimes you've got one person who is living within the world of the commercial who is a character of some sort. Whether it's, the dad in the grocery store or, the mom watching the kids and she's in that world. Those reads typically can have a bit more acting, a bit more, energy, a bit more animation to them. So that's another approach I'll take. So there's conversation, character. The third one is what I call the OTS. That's the over-the-shoulder read. Like when you're looking out and you see this beautiful vista and you just hear that voice. Wow, isn't this beautiful? That kind of Jen Henry, queen of the OTS read, that just connected, intimate, right up into the microphone, almost a whisper, like someone's just sitting right here, just like whispering right in your shoulder. Dennis Kleiman, another one. John too. God, we got some powerhouses in here who just have that gorgeous, intimate read right into the microphone. So that's the OTS read. If the other 2 are failing me, I'll throw out the OTS read, see how that sounds. And then the 4th is the announcer read. Now, this is not what everyone says non-announcer read. It's not that read. The way I define it is you're stating facts. That's how, anytime someone says we need an announcer read, I don't read it as this Sunday coming up at blah. I'm just stating facts, right? So an example of that would be this line right here. It says, Ollie is bringing better health to your dog's bowl with personalized, freshly cooked meals, okay? So conversational, me, I would just say, Ollie is bringing better health to your dog's bowl with personalized, freshly cooked meals. That's just me talking. There it is, boom. Okay, character. Ollie's bringing better health to your dog's bowl with personalized, freshly cooked meals. Like, that's pretty cool, right? OTS. Ollie's bringing better health to your dog's bowl with personalized, freshly cooked meals. That's that voice, right? Just like right over the corner. And then stating facts, the announcer read. Ollie is bringing better health to your dog's bowl with personalized, freshly cooked meals. I'm stating facts. I'm not announcing anything. I'm just, here's the truth about it, okay? Those 4 reads are, when I do commercial work, I just go through those and pick which one is connecting to me. Now, obviously, I can hybrid, I can change, I can alter, but I've had a lot of people who, when they're analyzing their scripts, they go, I don't know how to approach this. Well, take one of those 4 and see how it sounds. And if it works, and if it doesn't, try something else. Try the conversational read, try the character read, try the OTS read. See what happens. I've done some OTS auditions that I did not think were the right thing, but I felt confident in them, and I was like, no, this sounds good, and booked with them. Even though most people would say, no, it's a conversational read. So don't restrict yourself. Don't constrain yourself. So let's do this. See, that's the problem is you can't read it when we're going to turn this around so that people can read while they talk. Is there anyone who would like to just come play? Yes. So, precursor to this. I am a firm believer that positive reinforcement is the best way to learn. I do not believe in negative criticism. I don't think it works. I don't think there's a place for it. This is my ideology. So when we work with someone and we talk and we go through something, we're going to focus on the positive things that they're doing and reinforce those things. That's how I work. So come on up. Let's pull up a script for you. Now I know it's hard to see in the back. The screen's not fantastic, but let's pull up this one.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. Actually, turn away. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to treat this like you're in the booth, okay? What we're going to do is you're going to turn around and you're going to look at the VO1, and I want you to take whatever time you need to do your process, but I want this to be kind of like you're just looking at it for the first time. Like, don't take 5 minutes trying to dissect it and put it together, right? I want you to just look through it a couple of times, get a feel for it, emotional response, whatever else, and then give us a read of just VO1, and then let's talk about it, okay? So whenever you want, turn and jump in on that VO1. And it's Mercari.
Thank you. I was going to ask.
Yeah,
I
Mercari.
was like, can I ask how this is pronounced? Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have that option.
Oh, really? What do you
Sometimes
do
when
in
you have a
that
script,
case?
I just whatever I think, or I try and look it up, and if I can't find it, just make it up.
Okay. And okay, got it.
And just for fun, we'll use a microphone, just because we have one.
I was gonna use it anyways.
Yes.
Okay. Not using it? Sell it on Mercari. Never liked how it fits? Sell it on Mercari. Tired of walking past it, under it, or over it? Sell it on Mercari. Sell the stuff you don't use for good money, right from home. Download from the app stores or Mercari.com.
Nice. Now, one of the things I really enjoyed is, because naturally this is what's going to happen when you get up in front of a group of people and you start out, there's just a little bit of that initial whatever, but how many of you heard what happened at line 2? When she settled in and it was like, oh, okay, she knows what she's doing.
She changed the tone.
She settled in and was like, okay, now I'm doing my thing, right? What are some things you noticed about what she did that you enjoyed? Yeah.
She read it exactly as I saw it in my head, varying the pronunciation of Mercari every time, because if you say it the same way every time, it's going to sound boring and rote. But if you're approaching it from different angles, factual, emotional, excited, whatever,
Yeah.
then it has some freshness every time you say it, and it's more likely to make the listener approach their issues that way, the solution.
And the client loves hearing their name in many different ways. Yeah.
The line sell stuff you don't use. I felt like she nailed that because she added a little lilt, a little
Yeah, a little life
happiness,
to it.
a little almost a little chuckle
Yeah.
to that, which brought that was a turn
Yeah.
in the piece.
I love that part too. Was there another hand I missed out here? So, oh yeah. She was
I was
right
going
away.
to say,
She's right
I don't
away.
know if this was intentional, but this definitely sounds like a millennial-esque brand. Where like, hey, sell your shit, and you kind of went up with like that hip. Hey man, we've got an app for that, and I enjoyed that. And I didn't know if that was meticulous or not, but
I love that. So, that's a great starting read. Like we nailed the points. What I want to try now is just for fun. I want you to read that twice as fast.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just
And
hear what happens.
It's Mercari.
Mercari.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So I don't want you to think so much about how you're crafting
Yes,
it.
yes,
I
yes,
want you to just
Just go fast.
get through it.
Okay.
And let's hear the difference.
Not selling it, not using it. Sell it on Mercari. Never liked how it fits? Sell it on Mercari. Tired of walking past it, under it, or over it? Sell it on Mercari. Sell the stuff you didn't use for good money right now from home. Download from the App Store or Mercari.com. Can't find it in the stores?
No, you're good. Yes, out there. Nice. So what did you hear in that second read? Yeah.
She hit these little peaks much more.
Yeah.
Like, noticeably, and it was great because they had a lot more emotion in it.
Absolutely.
Because you're trying to rush and slow things down.
Yeah, Bridget.
You gave different inflection to Mercari. You billboarded it in different ways every single time you said it.
Yeah.
You didn't have time to overthink what you were reading.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each one of you who are here because you have an artistic ability and something within you, a creativity within you that drives you. Each of you can trust yourselves to not overthink this. Trust your innate creativity to be able to decipher a sentence, to decipher a paragraph, and add life to it without trying so hard. Because the number one thing that I see, especially with people in commercial work, is they start trying to make it something. They start trying to craft it or make it a thing. When in reality, especially with commercial, they just want you to say the words. Like their writers are like, this is the best thing I've ever written in my life. We just need someone to say it. You know, they don't need you to craft it. Not for commercial work. So what I saw in that second read is because you were focused on just getting through, your natural creativity and your natural ability to tell a story just came out. Because you didn't have time to think about it. You didn't have time to make it how you wanted. You just let your body do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So trust that. Trust that you don't have to try so hard. People are like, oh, but it's boring. It's not boring because we as voice actors are not capable of saying something boring. Like we just can't. We have to make it something. So trust that. Thank you. What was your name again?
Thank you, Cassandra.
Cassandra. Great job. Beautiful. Great job. Okay, let's bring up someone else. Bridget, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Get up here, Brigitte.
Woo!
Brigitte. Okay.
You gotta get big because my blind ass can't see.
So this, it's kind of a promo, but it's also a commercial. So let's just give you 60 seconds, look through it, get some ideas, and then let's just play. I like play. We have till 2:50.
Oh. I love that there's like no real punctuation in this.
And if you want, we can even do half of it, or I mean, whatever you want to do.
Oh, totally.
In fact, should we just put the mic right here?
For me?
No, for anyone. I'm just realizing over there you have to like look over. Whatever you want to do. You do whatever you want with the mic.
You do you, boo?
You do you, boo.
Mm.
And whenever you're ready, just jump in and have fun.
Jump into the huge world of Nintendo games with Nintendo TDS. Try this all over again.
All good.
Jump into the huge world of Nintendo games with Nintendo 2DS. You can journey with Mario and Luigi in New Super Mario Brothers. You can journey with Mario and Luigi in New Super Mario Brothers 2 and collect all the coins in the Mushroom Kingdom. Or you can get Mario Kart 7 so you can drive, dive, and glide through land, sea, and air with all your favorite characters. And you'll be ready to catch and battle tons of Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Hey, where did it go? I wanted to play. Get the Scarlet Red Nintendo 2DS bundle and play your favorite Nintendo 3DS games. Also available in blue. Games rated everyone.
Nice. Okay, so what did we hear in that? This is what I love because everyone's so different. I love that I can hear in each of you your natural tendencies.
It sounded like she did what you were talking about, the read as character. And that really came out when she had the, where did it go? She wasn't just talking about it, she was involved.
She was in it. Yeah.
Invested.
I love that.
Yeah, energy and voice inflection.
Yeah. I mean, she's kind of a pro.
Yeah.
I need this though.
No, this is good. So what I was hearing was Bridget being Bridget, which is how we should all be doing our commercial reads.
Should all be doing Bridget.
No, we should all be doing. We should all be doing.
Not all be doing Bridget.
Okay, is that
My husband would not like that.
she's been doing this long enough to just trust in her natural conversational voice. She didn't try to put anything on. Okay, so that's number one, be you. Trust yourself and be you. Second, Bridget naturally is a happy person, and you could hear that light and joy coming through in her read. Like that's just naturally who she is. So for fun, what we're gonna do, because we wanna stretch and change and grow, and this is all text analysis, this is trying something different. I want you to give me an OTS read, a really intimate read, and I want you to make this feel like a movie trailer. Okay? Just for fun, let's play, see what happens if she does a different read. And even speed it up a little too if you can, just.
Fast bunny it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trailer, OTS,
Jump into the huge world of Nintendo games with Nintendo 2DS. You can join Mario and Luigi in New Super Mario Bros. 2 and collect all the coins in the Mushroom Kingdom. Or you can get Mario Kart 7 so you can drive, dive, and glide through land, sea, and air with all your favorite characters. And you'll be ready to catch and battle tons of Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Hey, where'd it go? I wanted to play. Get the Scarlet Red Nintendo 2DS bundle and play your favorite Nintendo 3DS games. Also available in blue. Games rated for everyone.
Okay. What about that read?
I mean, she just raised the age limit on the game.
So maybe games rated teen or. What did you notice about? Any other thoughts about what you saw? Yeah, John.
Sexy AF.
Right?
Brought this up.
Is there anything about the first read that is worse than the second read?
No, they're just different.
They're just different. I could see, I heard both of these spots and was like, yeah, either one. This is what we're talking about in terms of casting directors don't know what they want. Because I guarantee you there's a casting director who would get that read and go, ooh, we may want to rethink this. Because this is good. And you could tell Bridget was so confident in her read. She stepped up to the mic and it was like, okay, this is her wheelhouse. This is the confidence in text analysis. Is that if you're struggling to figure something out or you're not quite sure how you want to approach it, where's your confidence at? Is your confidence in a character read? Is your confidence in a commercial read, a conversational read? Is your confidence in an OTS read? Try that. If that's where your confidence is, go there first, because that may inform a different read, or you may do that read and go, dang, that's the read. How did you feel?
That was really fun. The funny thing was, like, I look at that and I'm like, okay, it's Mario and Luigi. I want to be like fun and happy, and like I see Kayla.
Yeah.
You know, like, y'all know. And then like when you said go the opposite direction, I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. And that's the problem, and that's the whole reason why I'm here, because a lot of times I don't think about those. I look at it and I go, okay, the audience is going to be kids, millennials are all going to want to be this, and then like just completely going, screw that, go completely opposite direction. Like, so that was fun. It was just,
I love it.
Yeah.
And you were amazing. So well done. So this is trying to reinforce the no rules. This is trying to reinforce that in script analysis, you have the freedom to say, I'm going to do this as an OTS trailer and see what happens. And it may be amazing, and you may be like, done, send. Or you may be like, that didn't work at all, but I learned what could work by changing that. So do not restrict yourselves. Be open to doing totally different reads. Yeah?
Sorry, I was volunteering.
Oh, volunteering. Great. Come on up. Let's switch here. Let's do this one. It's a Taco Bell commercial. No problem. And notice I'm purposefully not showing any specs.
Good.
That's not to say ignore them. That's to say for the purposes of what we're doing with text analysis, let's focus on the text and let that then influence specs later if we feel we need to. So let's take 30 seconds. Don't worry about the alt on this one. Just do everything else.
Don't worry about the what?
The alt line at the bottom. Oh, don't worry about the alt line. So let's give you 60 seconds, read through that, and then we'll jump in.
I had no idea idea what this means.
Excellent. So, think about quick scan.
Yeah.
Think about sensory response. Is there a feeling you get? Is there, and just trust. And when you're ready, just start reading. Go for it.
When did phones get so big? Did she just say Flarper? Glyph. Is that a band? Are those fries from Taco Bell? And they're dipping them in nacho cheese sauce? What happened to ketchup? Ketchup's still cool, right? I'm still cool, right? I want to be flarped on, Dinger.
Good. What did you see in that one? Yeah.
He got more comfortable as he got into the read. Like there
Yeah.
was, like he started kind of just going to go with it. It was awesome.
Just allowing it to happen. How come you got here?
The confusion you expressed before you started reading made absolute sense with the first few
Yeah.
lines anyways. Like that
Yeah.
transition, that's perfect.
Totally.
Yeah.
All of that worked. Yeah.
All of these are questions, and he left the right pregnant pauses of somebody actually reflecting. Am I still cool? Like,
Because the reality is the sound engineer is going to do whatever they want anyway,
Right.
in terms of cutting and editing. So sometimes what I'll see is people will try to give the exact pauses in a big paragraph and then they run out of breath. Like obviously in your editing you can fix that up, but in the final spot, they're going to do all that for you. So focus on what you've got, the text. Okay? Any other thoughts? Yeah.
I loved how he so he was at one level with but then when he got down to the ketchup, like it was like he was thinking it in his head, like what happened to ketchup? Aren't I cool? You know,
Yeah.
where he was like saying this out loud, and then he like was talking in his own head, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because that's-
Internal monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the word. Yeah.
Yeah, Jen.
I wanted to add to the internal monologue that it started observationally. All of it internal monologue, not talking to anybody, but I heard it was very cool to hear the observer. You're sitting in a park or something and you're looking around, and she do that, this person, did I just see that? And why would you do that? You do that. Oh wait, am I this? And then you turn it.
Mm-hmm.
So despite the fact that it was internal monologue from start to finish, you even added nuance
Yeah.
to where you were in that internal monologue from being observer outside of you to the internal, and then move forward from there. That was very cool.
Great point.
That was very cool.
Fascinating.
Did you
So-
know that you did that?
Actually, yeah, sometimes when people say stuff about my reads, I'm like, yeah, I planned that. No, but what you observed was intentional.
Nice. It just felt so organic.
Well, like I said, I still don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I had to do what you said. I had to just trust my instincts on the words.
And that read was a good read. Like it's not, like just trusting your instincts and trusting your abilities, you delivered a good read. Like we need to stop worrying about whether we can give good reads. If you're here right now at this table, you can give good reads. Trust yourselves. Yeah, Bridget.
I was gonna say, I just got a point of note. My favorite part was when you were like, I'm still cool, you know, like however that line goes, because I can't see it from here. But it was so unbelievably relatable. It was like, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly how like that thought goes through my head. You know what I mean? Like it just, and I think that just was like a big turning point where it just kind of really grabbed my attention.
I love that. Okay, I want you to read it again. And here's what we're gonna do. Oh, get out of here. Here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
You're gonna read it, and you're gonna do it twice as fast, and you are going to be ketchup. You are ketchup reading this spot. Okay?
Got it.
Twice as fast, whenever you're ready.
When did phones get so big? Did she just say Flarper? Glyph, is that a band? Are those fries from Taco Bell? And they're dipping them in nacho cheese sauce? What happened to ketchup? Yeah, ketchup's still cool, right? I'm still cool, right? I want to be flirped on, Dinger.
Okay. What did you hear in that read?
Totally different.
Yeah.
Point of view.
Exactly. Perspective.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. It was almost sad kind of in there. It was like, I'm so cool, right?
I was actually imagining I was one of those little packets of ketchup on the table watching the scene.
So, thank you again. So it was Dave, right?
Yes.
Yes, great job. So, I hate that we're out of time, but here's what we're getting to. Text analysis and script analysis is a very personal thing because each of you are going to approach it totally different from everyone else. At the same time, you have to trust that your approach can not only grow and change and get better, but you need to trust that it's going to work because it's your approach, right? What I've shared with you today is my approach. Some of those principles might connect with you. Some you might have on your own. But what's most important is that you find out for you how to do, as each of you, not just the ones who read, but as you were all watching and commenting, you all saw what happens when you go the exact opposite way. You learn something you didn't think about. If you speed it up twice as fast, you learn something you didn't think about. All of these things are helping you to internalize the text and to internalize the script so that you can deliver a more confident read that then the client is going to go, my goodness, how did we not think of that? We got to book that. Are there any last questions before we wrap up? Yeah.
I didn't get your definition of walk it out.
Yeah, so walk it out is basically either printing or on a mobile device, walking while you are reading the text.
Oh, that's what that was.
Physically getting on your feet and moving around the room.
Okay.
It's amazing what happens when you walk around the room reading a script. When you notice where you're turning, where you're stopping, if you slow down, all of that. Any other questions? Yeah.
What about like adding things like maybe a sigh or a gasp or maybe an extra word, you know, that maybe not in the script?
Great question. So for me, typically on animation and video games, I go insane with my efforts and my voices and whatnot. Commercial, if it's a character in a commercial, I give myself more freedom. If it's like the main voice, the narrator or the AVO, I typically hold back just a little bit because that role, most clients just want that to be the information giver. But if you feel in a read, this is again breaking the rules.
Like the ketchup, you know.
If you feel in that moment to go, trust it. Trust your instincts. Trust what you innately know how to do because you're all here for that reason. So thank you so much. I wish we had another hour and a half. Thank you.